In 1909, Carl Jung had a dream that changed how he understood the human mind. He was on the top floor of a house he somehow knew was his own, a fine salon, comfortable and modern. But there was a staircase going down. So he went down. The floor below was older, medieval, the furniture centuries out of date. He kept going. Below that, a Roman cellar of cracked stone, and set into the floor of the cellar, a slab. He lifted it and found narrow stairs leading down into a cave cut in the bedrock with broken pottery, scattered bones, and 2 ancient skulls. Jung woke understanding something he'd spend the rest of his life mapping. The house was him. Every man is a house like this, and almost all of them live their whole lives on the top floor, lights on, never once going down the stairs. Tonight I'm going to walk you down through the whole house, your house, floor by floor, down to the one door you've never opened, and the figure who's been running things from behind it. Because the version of you sitting here is standing in a single lit room, certain he's seen the whole place. He hasn't. By the end, you'll know which floor you've been hiding on, and who actually owns the building. Start at the front door. It's the part of the house everyone sees, the face you present to the street. Jung called it the persona, the Latin word for the mask an actor wore on stage. It's the competent one at work, the easy one at the party, the version of you built to be acceptable. You need it. A man with no front door is raw and impossible to live with. Having a persona isn't the problem. The problem is moving into it. When the mask becomes the only room you'll stand in, you start believing the face is the whole house, and you spend your life defending a doorway instead of living in the rooms behind it. I've gone deep on the man who became his own front door elsewhere on this channel. For now, just notice, this is where you greet the world. It is not where you live. Keep walking. The lights are on just inside. Step inside onto the main floor. This is the part of the house that's lit. Everything you're aware of right now, this sentence, your name, your plans, the opinion you hold of yourself, happens up here. Jung had a precise word for the thing standing in the middle of the floor, switching on the lamps. The ego. In his 1951 book, Ion, he called it the center of the field of consciousness, the I that every conscious thing refers back to. Here's the part almost everyone gets wrong, and it's the hinge of the whole map. The ego is the center of your consciousness. It is not the center of you. Look at the proportions. The lit floor is one floor. Below it, in the dark, sits most of the building, and you didn't furnish it, and it was standing there before you arrived. The ego works the lights on one floor and calls itself the owner. It isn't the owner. It isn't even the largest tenant. And every staircase it refuses to go down. It simply pretends isn't there. That refusal is the next door. Take the stairs down. The light goes thin. This is the basement, where you put the things you couldn't stand to keep upstairs. The memories and impulses that didn't fit the face at the front door. Jung called the figure that lives down here the shadow. Everything a man has no wish to be, locked in the dark, where it only grows denser the longer it's ignored. Most men never come down here on purpose. They come down at 2 a.m. or in the middle of an argument, when something they swore wasn't in them walks up the stairs on its own. I've spent whole films down in this basement. The father you swore you'd never become. The reaction you can't explain. So I won't pry open every crate tonight. For the map, just see it. This floor is real. It's yours. And the door is not locked from the outside. And there's one thing down here most maps miss. Set into the floor of your basement is a slab. And under it, stairs going down into bedrock that doesn't belong to you alone. That's the deepest floor. The one every house on the street is built on. the mind we all inherit. I gave it its own film, the one just before this. Tonight, just know the trapdoor is there, and what's under it has been dreaming in you your whole life. Come back up from the bedrock. On the basement landing, there's a door you've walked past 1,000 times. It's locked, and you didn't lock it. Behind it lives someone unmistakably part of the house, and just as unmistakably not you. In a man, Jung called this figure the Anima, an inner woman who carries everything the hard top-floor self disowned, tenderness, and the irrational pull towards someone. You meet her by proxy. She's the reason a stranger across a room can level you for no reason you can name. You're not seeing the stranger. You're seeing the figure behind the door, thrown onto a face. I followed that projection all the way down in another film, so I'll leave the room mostly closed. The point for the map: there's a part of you with a will of its own that you've never formally met, and it's been choosing who you fall for and what you ache for, from behind a door you keep calling a wall. So you've walked the whole house. Front door, lit floor, basement, bedrock, the locked room. One question is left, the one the ego never asks because it's afraid of the answer. Who built this place? Not the ego. The ego woke up on the top floor and assumed the house was his. But something laid the foundation, stacked the floors, set the locked room exactly where it is. Jung called that something the self. And here's the line that reorganizes everything. In Ion, and again in Psychology and Alchemy, he wrote that the self is not only the center of the house, but its whole circumference. The ego is related to the self as a part to the whole. The I you've called yourself your entire life is one lit room in a house the self designed. This is where the map stops being a diagram and becomes a task. Jung had a name for what happens when a man quits hiding on the top floor and starts walking his own stairs, meeting the shadow in the basement, the figure behind the locked door, the bedrock underneath. He called it individuation, becoming a single, whole being, coming home to the self you were built to be, not inventing yourself, becoming what the architect already drew. So you don't really have a self. You have a house and a lifetime to come home to the one who built it. The lights on the top floor are still on, but now you know the stairs are there. Tonight, before you talk yourself out of it, go down one floor, open one door you've been calling a wall, and meet whoever's been waiting on the other side.